Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. This is Starters Order 7, a little bonus video here. I wanted to jump into my Australian save that I've been playing in the background, a little breeding save at the end of their season. It runs from August through to the end of July, so that's why the time is kind of weird in that way. But I kind of wanted to highlight three horses in particular, two of which we've already seen, but I just felt like it was worth just pointing out a little something because I don't think that some people understand the quality of the horses that we actually have or that we've actually had. So if you look at Krabby's, our Triple Crown winner, very good horse, done a lot. If we go onto the transfer list and select them, you can see won the Qatar Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère as a 2-year-old over a mile. Like that was a good sort of benchmark there. And then won the Arkansas Derby. Nice little, you know, prep race. Took the Kentucky Derby, took the Preakness, took the Belmont, and that was it. And for a Triple Crown winner, you might look at it and say a 126 rating, 5 Group 1 wins. I've got better horses than that. That's what you might be saying to yourself and thinking, like, how did that win the Triple Crown? And yes, it was a bad year. But, like, some people have been a little questioning over why their horses don't do that. Why they can't win those big races, those feature races sometimes, but they could stack up 15 group wins. So I figured it would be interesting to come in and just show you a little bit. The second horse I wanted to look at as well as Brisingamen Hague. Second in the Belmont. The only thing he won was a grade 2 Remsen. That was it. We never, really got a grade 1 on him before we transferred him. And yeah, we won one later. Um, but really, it's just sort of a very interesting snapshot that we almost won the Belmont with this. And was it just the distance? Was it just that nobody else had the distance? Maybe. How good is this horse? So I wanted to kind of look at that. And then the third one is from a different transfer list. It's just a 2-year-old, a very good 2-year-old, but just a 2-year-old that I'd never raced before. In a previous save, in a breeding save, I put them onto a transfer list. I kept that transfer list safe. We managed to import them into this game, and we want to take a look at them. So the first one I want to look at is going to be Brisingamen Hague, who has now become Brazingham because the name is already in use. And you can see here their rating is actually up to a 137. We've got 17 grade 1 wins and added a grade 3 um, to the mix as well. But you can see here, there's just so much going on here. And, a mile 5, and then just winning at a mile 4. We start with the Arc de Triomphe, a very nice run. Then the Breeders' Cup Turf by almost 7 lengths as an Aussie is crazier. The Victoria Derby, the Japan Cup, a big race there. That is, $6 million for winning that one. And then backing that up with another 6 million in the Nakayama. The 2 mile Chairman's Cup at Kenilworth, again, a nice big victory there at distance. So we're moving up and down distances with Brisingham as well. The New Zealand Derby up next, a nice solid one. Then the actual Australian Derby, the third leg of the Australian Triple Crown, won in style. Then the South Australian Derby, very closely, got up on that one. Another big race at Charty in the Champions and Charter Cup. That is a good win. The Investec Derby at Epsom. So this is the third leg of the British Triple Crown. And barely got up on that, but we did. We've got a very good race here, the Irish Derby at Curragh, which I believe is the third leg of the Irish Derby, maybe. Or at least, are they the third? I can't remember if are they the second legs? I'm thinking maybe actually they're the second legs. Because isn't the St. Ledger the third? So maybe these are second, but either way, very good. Then, you know, King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, that's another big one. We're back at 2 miles and a Goodwood for the Goodwood Cup. Then back for this Champions and Charter Cup, the Coronation Cup, another pretty decent race, winning the King George VI and QE as well as a 4-year-old. And then back for the Goodwood Cup. So what you might see here is really 13 of these group wins, because we had none coming up the transfer list. 13 of these Group 1 wins all came in a 3-year-old season. These 4 came in a 4-year-old season. And it might be you're looking at some of these and well, these are all for 3-year-old races. But the big thing is what I wanted to do with Brazingham was breed from him, because that is like 98 potential, fully realized. It's good cruising burst. Extra speed isn't terrible. Full finish. The rest of the bars are pretty decent. There's no real weaknesses, even if there aren't that many strengths in those bars. And just an absolute monster. So when we go look at the breeding, you'll realize that, yeah, all but one of them actually bred with Brazingham in his 4-year-old season, which is why he only came out to race the last 3 or 4 months. And then we come to Krabby's, our Triple Crown winner. And yes, not an amazing horse. I think you'll have horses that look similar to this in your saves. But I think what's key to notice here is just all around the world, big races, the Dubai World Cup as a 4-year-old, absolutely smashing that one and just keeping on going. The Breeders' Cup Classic, the derbies in South Africa, the QE there, the, basically all the Mile 2 races of the Triple Crowns are kind of, basically Krabby's races, including the Rosehill Guineas. So having a Mile 4 horse and a Mile 2 horse, I'm feeding one into the other for Triple Crown races. The Mile 2s went to Krabby's, the Mile 4s went to Brazingham, and we end up with 32 Group 1 wins on Krabby's. So when I say this isn't a wonder horse, like, if I take my time and actually get them fully, properly booked out, and just make sure that, that I'm not being distracted by a ton of the horses and booking 1 or 2 horses, maybe 3 horses at a time I did for their 3-year-old seasons, then the potential is there to be like one of the best horses, if not the best horses in the entire game. And we can kind of see that, season's earnings, Krabby's did win the big World Cup, so that's, huge. We look at the Korea, and by far, you can kind of see where they're at. So, the difference in seasons as a 4-year-old is massive, absolutely massive. But just you remember, as a 3-year-old, like Brazingham won most of his as a 3, most of his money. Krabby's won most of the money as a 4-year-old, and we are the 2 top horses, the 2 top rated, and last year's winner in terms of season money was Brazingham. This year is Krabby's. Korea were 1-2. It's just, they are absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. When you look at the breeding, like there's also mile races for a lot, or mile one races for a lot of these Triple Crowns. So, like, who did the miles? Well, that's Hallidite. And Hallidite came in, um, and just for a 3-year-old season, pretty much. A little bit as a 2-year-old here. You can see a 2-year-old season ends here at Greyville with the Premier's champion. So, off to a bad start, really bad start, over 5. Just didn't look good. But then very quickly, we're starting to look better. Second in a grade 3. And that's when she decided to kick on. And we took the Jub Bunt, the Juvenile, Turf, Golden Gift, the Blue Diamond, the Golden Slippers, a big Australian race. That was a really nice one. Then up to the Sires, which is another pretty prestigious grade 1. The Atkins Plate, Premier's Champion, the Memsey, the Diva, the Raffles, the Flight, Bondi, then up to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile in America. We're moving, up to 7 and 1. Then firmly we're in 1. Then we take the Guineas of New Zealand. We take the Guineas over in South Africa. We take the Queen's Plate. One of my favorite races to go win in South Africa is the Queen's Plate if I've got a miler. Then the Australian Guineas, then the Randwick Guineas, which is part of the Triple Crown. That is the opener there. Then the Breeders. Then we decided to go to Newmarket and take the Fillies. The Fillies Triple Crown race being the 1,000 Guineas. And followed up with the Irish Fillies Triple Crown race, which is also the 1,000 Guineas. Very, very fun. And just didn't race as a 4-year-old. So a bad start, a decent number of races as a 2-year-old, getting a bunch of wins, and then just dominating as a 3-year-old, and just went into breeding as a 4-year-old. Didn't bring her back out. I just wanted to see what she could do because I never got a chance, and I always thought this was a very good horse. Reminds me a lot of other great horses that we've had. The capper at 6 furlongs or a mile. But I just wanted to see, and again, this is what she looks like, and it's not tons of potential. It's not tons of cruising bursts. There's no battling qualities. Like, there's nothing super high on these bars that you won't have on multiple of your horses. But if you get the right schedule and you're able to book them consistently, space out their races a bit, push where you need to. There's definitely some which are really, really close. There's 9 days here, which is kind of close. There's 5 days here. That's really close. That's really asking a lot out of your horse. But we've got 23 Group 1 wins on Hallidite. And let me just double check as well. Yeah, so what's that? 12 million? Almost 12.75 million on 23 Group 1 wins on a miler. And then up to a mile 2, and we've got Krabby's. Massive, massive horse there. 33.33 million in prize money. 32 Grey One wins. That's 129 rating. We got 123 on Hallidite. Like I say, Brissingham 137, 17 Group 1 wins, and 34.5 million there. So, if you kind of want to feel good about yourself, lower the competition level a touch and win a ton of money, then the Australian schedule's kind of built for that. I don't know why there's so much money in Australian racing, but there just is, and that's the way it is. I would have thought sort of like, yes, Japan's really popular with racing, and the Middle East, like Saudi and the UAE, they're both very popular with racing. But there's a disproportionate amount of money, I feel, in Australia. So you can go win, you can win big, you can make a ton of money. A career in this save is 91 out of 97. That's kind of interesting. and we've earned 93 million. So for every win, we're pretty much picking up just over a million. In fact, if we just wipe out that 2.2 and change as prize money for the 6 races that we'd lost, but could have still been in the money for, a lot of them we were, that is like just a million a race. So it's just something to keep in mind. I wanted to test these horses, like really, really test these horses. I booked them all with jockey instructions as well. That was the other thing. Um, Trying to play around with jockey instructions in this save as well as just breeding. And so there is that as well. A lot of these 2 and 3 year olds that I've got have actually um, come in from an old transfer file I've got, which is why you might recognize some of the names like Top Fang. That was a huge horse me back in the day. Bella, Shift, Cuckoo, the Dats, the Higgy Dats, and yeah, there were a few other Dats that I bred. Ski Party. So they're all named to kind of like remember their bloodlines. Um, yeah, they all came in from elsewhere. We kind of bred from Rashman, was the season one goat at 13 grade one wins. Didn't do too bad. There's a few falls. We'll take a look at that. Actually made it out of that class. Decided not to race most of these. They all look fairly similar. They're all in that same kind of bracket of, above 80 potential, above 70 extra speed and full finish. They all look pretty good. Hadres is one that, is probably one of our worst ones. Um, she's really tailed off, so we won't be breeding from her again. But pretty much everyone else is in that same kind of state, I guess. And then Little Drum, that we called. I decided to bring Little Drum in this year, a year after the others, just for breeding to see what they would do in this save. Haven't actually raced them. So, yeah, it's very interesting to me. I say I've got all these horses, very, very similar stats to breed with Harry Rashman and then with Brisingham and see what we get there. And then I think the only other thing I need to do, because Krabby's hasn't bred with anyone in this save, the only one it shouldn't breed with is Bertarella, who is actually its dam from the other save. So I don't want to cross mix those bloodlines. So we did test Gavroche Gagain, was a very good 2 year old. I thought would turn into something and didn't, but we bred her with him this time. So next season she'll breed with Brisingham, and everybody else is going to be bred with Krabbies, and that's just going to get a lot of good stats in, not really lose much, and a lot of stats in from Brisingham and not really lose much there. So we kind of combine these two and combine them with all those, and we'll see what we get. And what we do get is fall finished early, because anytime you're not starting on January 1st and ending on, I believe, November 23rd, the game gets to a certain point, a certain number of days into the season, it just thinks, okay, you've bred enough. You can't breed in, I think, the last week of December, like the 22nd onwards. So even if that's in the middle of your season as it is here, you can't breed in that week or so, which is annoying, but that's just how the game's designed. And then once you get to a certain part of the season where normally the season will be over, because you're not running by default a 365-day schedule like we are in the modded saves or modded schedules, and so it kicks them out early. So they're all under yearlings. Now, the interesting thing is, you can see here 1 year old. So that dash comes from Higgy Dat and Harry Flashman. Looks pretty good. Tacky Shift and Harry Flashman is Takash. You might be able to figure out the naming conventions. Like I say, I'm Bellash from Bella and Harry Flashman. very solid, all yearlings, and then the ones that technically aren't yearlings are actually down as 0 year olds, and I've never seen that before, which is kind of fun. Normally they would be in, I believe, as fillies. Sorry, as yearlings, and then would become 2 year olds when I hit skip, because we're actually at the end of the year, so beginning of next year. So Brazingham and Laffer is another pretty solid horse there as a yearling. Going to be tough to fill that, which means you probably, 20% is usually the maximum. 15 is more realistic. So we're looking at 75 to 80 in its 2 year old season at most. And then we still have a little bit left over, which means normally they won't increase as a 3 year old. They'll retain that same level until you hit it. And so this might be where they cap out as a 3 year old, but still, that's a pretty good filly. And we've seen what 4 year olds in this save can do as well. Then Halaham is Hallidite and Brazingham. And this is, like my best miler or my best mile 4. So the distance should be about right. And again, we got about 20 plus potential to gain. Doesn't look bad in any way, shape, or form. So we'll see what Halaham might end up like. And then Oldham from Mist of Old and Brazingham. And again, very kind of similar, a little bit more attainable. If this is the yearling, where they won't race, and then as a 2 year old, we fill this out. As a 3 year old, you might see a little jump over that 90 potential. And if they are like Brazingham, then 95 plus as a 4 year old. So we've already got 3 horses out of the 4 that actually fold early. I'm going to term it folding early. That means only one didn't make it, and it was Bertarellans. And neither one of their horses has actually kind of made it. And this was the first good one from our US save. This is the first horse I found that I thought, yeah, 80% potential, 75 extra speed, 45 cruising burst. That was well above where other horses were in our save at that time. Not a full finish application, and so there is that issue. But this was good enough for me to think, yes, I can breed from, and this is what ended up getting us Krabbies down. This is the dam for that. So a little sad that we didn't quite get the offspring working right now. But again, we will be, she hasn't bred with Brazingham yet. I'm really hoping that that will produce a good fall, and we'll kind of see what happens there. But yeah, we're just going through. We're just booking for 1, 2, or 3 horses at most. Quickly stacking up like 7, 8 horse races if they're eligible, even if they're a day apart, 2 days apart, and then kind of saving the day before the race, like going to skip to next, saving, and then analyzing over those 2 or 3 races that we might have to choose from within a day or two because we can't run them all, which ones we actually go for, if any, analyze the field, the form, the head lad feedback, because we are racing an absolute ton. Yeah, and then just we'll pick our races, we'll win, we'll lose, whatever happens, we move to the next one. And all in the background, we've got all these very good young fillies that we can breed from and just see kind of what happens. Laffer's the only one that's slightly weird, but even then, still looks pretty good. So like I say, Hedra's probably we'll move on from. Laugh after this season probably will move on from as well, actually. So let me just do that now before I forget. So this is the only one I need to remember. And then when we skip, we're again going to be great. Krabbies is the top flat horse. Last season, it was the top. Brazingham was the top flat horse, the top flat stayer, the top flat 3 year old, And then, because it went to the breeding barn, now Krabby's just gets top flat horse, and top flat 4-year-old doesn't get the top flat sprinter. But neither does the 2 or 3-year-old, which means Cheers Chief is 4. Okay. Yeah, I guess you're not even a sprinter or you're a mile 2 anymore, so you're not really a stayer, and you're not really a sprinter. That's at 5 to 6, and that's, especially in this save, where there are mile 4 plus races to run. So that makes sense to me, I guess. But yeah, so the top flat 3-year-old last season, the flat horse and the flat stayer were all Brisingham, and Krabby's is now your 4-year-old and the top flat horse this year. Love to see it. Just makes you feel good to win those kind of awards. And then we've got all these to go over, all these new yearlings. Be interesting to see kind of what comes to them. We're not really buying anything. And I've got 2 more horses, so Courtier and Rapturous Applause. So let me see kind of what they ended up doing. Not a ton, 5 grade 1 wins. Another good horse. So I do follow a lot of horses at 2 and 3 that look good. But whether they actually end up doing anything is debatable. And the fact that I don't feel like I've seen them already is kind of weird. So again, I look at the Group 1 wins, and Flashman's still number 1 by far. Which kind of just goes to show that, you know, maybe there's not a ton in here that we kind of like. Get rid of Hydras. And the only thing I need to do to start this off is going to be, I'm going to put both of these in the barn right now. And then Bert is going to be breeding with Brazingham. And then Krabby's is actually going to be a stud for the season. And so he'll stay in the barn, breed with everyone, maybe come out at the end of the season to race. Probably not, because now we've got some 2-year-olds. I find it really interesting that these, yeah, they used to age up early. Now they start as 0-year-old fillies and then become yearlings. So that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. This is Hairdresser we just got rid of, and that's fine. Hadham. So anything with Brazingham's just going to be a ham, even though it's Han. It's, you know, it's a ham. And then we just take part of the mare's name early. This is Little Droms, which is interesting because we never got to see the best of Little Drom. And okay, it might take the whole 2 and 3-year-old season to get there, but we can get above 85 with over 60 cruising burst, 75 extra speed in the full finish. Like, there's enough to like here. That's going to be Dromum. And then Golden Ace. Oh my god, that stamina bar is magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. And 90% potential. 55 cruising burst, 80 extra speed, full finish and consistency. No bad. This to me speaks of possibly Grand National. And correct me if I'm wrong in thinking now, but like that just this could be very interesting. I can race him here as like a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old on the flat, getting a ton of like grades and rating, and just fill this potential bar up if I can. By the end of its 3-year-old season, then put it onto the transfer list, and then take that into our jump save. That could happen. Is this Goldham or is this Aceham? I think this is going to be Goldham. So if you end up seeing that name in the jump save, remember what we kind of talked about here. Yeah, that I love seeing that stamina bar. I really do. Brisingham and Shift is just another very, very good horse. A very good horse. Shift them. Benulaf, very good stamina, not all the way up there, but very, very good. And again, just very nice. So I want to keep the Cuckoo, because I remember Cuckoo being an excellent 6-furlong horse for us. Excellent little filly. And then she's bred with Hambleton and a couple other horses that I believe we're still in these lists, but I chose the Hambleton one because I remember Hamilton a little bit, as I believe a miler or a mile 1, and Cuckoo was like a 6-furlong. So Hamble Cuckoo obviously must have come out as a miler, and this one has just taken basically the sire's stamina there. Yeah, there's a lot to like about this one, so I can't do Cookham. Cuckoo. I kind of want to keep Kikuam. I don't love the name, but like I want to remember the lineages as much as possible with these. For my breeding saves, I really want to keep that going as much as possible. And if anything, the mare, I want to kind of keep that lineage alive. So I do tend to try and do that. So Priam, got to make sure that they hit my metrics. Probably one of the weaker ones, like high potential, but like weaker bars here maybe. But again, it's just a really nice horse. So Brazingham, the only one that hasn't made out of this entire class so far, is the one that basically came from not Brazingham with Bertarella. So Brazingham's batting 1,000 right now in terms of breeding, as you'd kind of expect with their stats and their record. A little bit low enthusiasm, but everything else is really nice. And again, he's got a couple of years to get that up. I like Higgy, and I like the Dats. I've already got a Datum. This might just come through Higgy then. Hyam. Just Higham, but Hyam. That might make sense to me. Yeah, it doesn't look amazing, but it's fine. Skiam. So very much a short order horse with a ton of cruising burst, which is kind of weird, but hunt them. Kind of like this one. I do kind of like this one. It's 50% or above on absolutely everything here. and we're up to 85 potential, which we're not a million miles. It's like 22 to gain. It's possible in 1 year. It's probably not going to happen unless you win a couple of really big grade twos, which are in this schedule. If we really hyper focused, then yeah, they could possibly fill that out at 2 and get up to 90-95 as a 3-year-old. If they had any more distance, I'd be tempted to pull them into the American sale for the American Triple Crown, because I think that would be the best test for them there. Um, yeah, I don't know. Fail. Yeah, I don't want to. Fame, I guess, is the best there. Best name I can go for. So yeah, Goldum is one that I'm the most excited about. So I'll hopefully be able to remember which one that is. I mean, really, this should be Lapham. And Cuckooum's just the long one because, yeah. Okay, so we're down to the final four, and like, does Brisingham and Haig or Brisingham, does he fail at all ever? I'm looking for over 50 in this dark green bar. I'm looking for over 70 in the light green bar. I'm looking for as close to 70 here or above as I can get an extra speed and the finish application being full. We're still looking at those same kind of attributes in the same kind of way. Doubloon Hunt and Huntress. Yeah, because Huntress was an older horse that I saved as a 2-year-old. So when I imported Huntress, I also imported her daughter, who I'd bred with Doubloon. I can't remember the name of that horse, but I think that's correct. So we've already got to hunt them. So I think we're going to break and do Lunam, even though if we were to breed, we can't breed these two together, it's too close. But if we could, then not having them both with Hunt in the name wouldn't really remind me, although they both got Ham in the name. You just don't want to, like, recursively breed from the same genetic pools too many times. I think that's the big thing. And this is actually Huntress, so this comes Hunt Ham. Yeah. Bella. Really liked Bella. Oh boy, that's another 50 plus everywhere. Bella, another decent stamina. Lacks a bit of cruising burst. I hate the fact that we got a lot of short orders with cruising burst, and then some of the distance horses lack that cruising burst when it pairs really well with distance. Oh, this is tacky shift, and we've already had. Have we already had a tacky? No. Okay, that's fine then. I think I only imported one tag. I tried to only import one. Tackum. That's the best thing going with ham. It rolls off the tongue easy, so I can just breed anything, just add ham to the end. So Tackum, Cuckooum, Skium. Top Fang. We do like Top Fang. Just stamina bar. Like, the potential rating isn't there, but the stamina bar is. And that really doesn't matter too much if we're putting it into a jump save. And so, yeah, if I look at it, then, like, potentially we can get about 55 at the end of their 2-year-old season. 75 is a 3-year-old season, which means realistically, we could fill this out at the end of a 4-year-old season, going into 5 and 6, maybe gaining even more because I know Top Fang had a 90 plus potential, and Brazing had like that 98 we've just seen so far. Yeah, I think there might be more there, and then you're going for the really big jump to 7 and 8, and she might have it. She'll have distance, and like sneakily, again, this could be an interesting Grand National horse. Now, no jumping here, no jumping there to speak of, so yeah, Goldham and Fangham, the the Fang lines are one of my favorite. That breeding lines I had in the past. So yeah, Higgy. Uh, I think that's got to be Datam because I need to remember those lines. Those are the ones I like. The Cuckoo, the Dats, the Fangs. Those are the ones I kind of want to keep an eye on because those are so good. Then the Haladites, because of this save, will be another one I'll be interested in keeping an eye on. Um, that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. And then Golden Ace is just good, not great, but has potentially given us a monster in Triple Crown for the future. Maybe, like I say, going distance horse and going Grand National at the end. We'll kind of have to see how that plays out, but we do have 2 with full stamina bars out of the 17, and they're all really good. And now it's Krabby's turn. We only got 16, not 18 this time. And Brillingham, he gets a shot to completely cover all 18 when he steps up with Bertarellen. I really hope that works out. I really do. And like I say, we got some interesting 2-year-olds. Takash looks like the early quality, but probably not amazing. So is Belash. So my question then becomes, do we race these two just to see, or do we breed with these two? So I think I race as a 2-year-old, try and get 2 or 3 races, get as much of this filled out as I can, and then I'll put them in the breeding barn, and we'll have 18 brood mares again. Brazingham can breed with these two this season, and then next season Krabbies can breed with them. We'll race Datash this season and kind of see what happens there. And who knows if they end up being really, really good and winning as much as I think they might be able to, maybe they become the next breeder. I don't know. But right now, this has already been a very profitable breeding save. We got 17 yearlings who look great. We got 3 2-year-olds that look great. We've got horses that can go into our jump save in Britain. We've got horses that can go into the flat save in America. And we've got so many horses that could just end up as breeding stock again. I've got like 8 different transfer files of 50 to 60 horses on each. And I don't know. I really enjoy doing it this way. And this time, like I say, I got to really sit down and push Krabbies and Brisingham and Haig as far as they could go, which I don't think the regular save allowed me to do, and it got me to really test a horse that I'd never tested before, that I'd always looked at and wondered, because, like I say, the Cuckoos, the um, the Miss Swans, if you remember that far back, or if you've watched one of my old series, Miss Swan, always going to be stuck in the back of my mind. There's like 3 or 4 of those early fillies that were Triple Crown contenders or just looked amazingly good before I had any real good horses that stick with me. And Hallidite became one of those that I never really got to race, and now I was able to test them too. So, kind of combining the two, seeing what could have been in an alternate universe, and then also just, what's everything look like from my breeding list of 2-year-olds, again, unraced, throw them in the breeding barn. I know they come from good bloodlines, and then breeding them from the actual big horses that we have, the big studs that we might not get a chance to breed from in our regular saves. Breeding saves do kind of get going on that. So, yeah, that's about it. I wanted just to kind of talk over this, my Australian save. And yeah, I was feeling nostalgic, so we added in a few of those older horses, and I think it's just going swimmingly to begin with. I think just absolutely fantastic. And when you have one good save and you're able to use the transfer file trick, then you're able to retain all of those young horses and seed so many different breeding saves. Like I say, I've got so many. And if I move out, let me see. Let's go to, what am I doing? There we go. I think I've got that one backed up. So let me just transfer over a different one from 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago. So now if we pull into this save, you can see we've got 64 on this, and there's some names on here that I also want to bring into this save too. I don't remember the actual horses too much. I remember that I really liked them. And Personal Vendetta was one I liked a lot. I want to say Martial Prophet, maybe. The Viking Skull, Joyful Cup. I remember these names. Acquired Taste. Um, Aurora Charm, maybe. Cruising Queen, Awkward Upstart. So yeah, these are all from a British breeding save I had 4 years ago. So that's kind of interesting. We do have those. And then we also have, if I delete that TTF file, got to go back to the main menu because you need to reload the game. I hate when it doesn't select started there. I don't think it creates an issue once you're like in the game, but sometimes it does. Then we got 60 horses here. Here's where the dots are. Okay. Here's where the dots are. This is the one I've been looking for. So transfer file number 4. We found them. We got the Downs. We got Halifax. Oh, I loved Halifax. And there's my Dat Halifax. That bloodline between the Dats and the Halifax, yes, please. Saffron. Anyone remember Saffron? Again, an old favourite. Saffron Dactana. That's going to be a good one. Oh my God. Yes. 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 Fardat. Oh, Fardat's here. I thought I'd lost some of these horses, by the way. I thought I'd lost some of these horses. I don't know what they're like. I don't know how good they actually are. But Fardat's coming in. Fardat's coming in. We start at the bottom and start looking at some of these, see if there's any that really stick out. Swing the lead. Gonna be swing set for now. Just want to make sure that we can take a look. And like I said, I've got like 7, 8 of these. I've got the one from the new sale, which is the 52. I've got the one from 4 years ago, 5 years ago, which is, I think that was 64. And then I got 6 others from a longer time ago, which is, this is number 4 of 6. Sadly, I don't have any of the super early ones because I got rid of them. This is pretty early on. I gotta go for Safcom. That's Commander and Saffron, and yeah, that's just 100%. That Halifax, 100%. The Tana, down Halifax, down Party. Okay, that's 7. That's 7. How good were they? Ooh, that extra speed. That extra speed's nice. Okay. Yeah, achievable. Achievable at the end of 2, so it could jump a 3. Wow, that's pretty nice. Swing set, pretty nice. The Tana, a little more grown, but again, like, they all fit in with all of these that we've just bred from. And these are horses that I bred from other horses that I loved and showed so much potential. Oh, I haven't been checking their stamina. I think they're all short orders because I bred a lot of short order horses back there. So anything under a mile, pretty much in this breeding save, was part of the target. Yeah, just oh yeah, they fit in with this bunch. 100% they fit in with this bunch. Okay. Yeah, down the stretch, I believe is down, right? Down the stretch. Halifax party. I want to say party animal or party girl. I had a few parties. I don't know which party this actually is. Katana and somebody else bred, and there was a weird Tana at the end that I kept, and then bred with How's Dat and the other Dat bloodline until we get down to Dat Tana and Dat Halifax, and then the Tana's here, and then Saffron and Commander became Safcom, and then Safcom and the Tana bred, and that becomes Safcom the Tana. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so fun. It's so interesting to kind of see where we're at. Looks like some more smaller builds and a few more laid backs. And again, these are like the sprinters I was breeding from, so that makes sense to me. Yeah, we're gonna save and quit that, and then the last one I want to check is if we delete that again, because we've got copies, so we don't need to keep the one in a save file, because I've got them in another file. And I think this might just be the oldest of the transfer lists I've got. Oh, we got the booze there. We got the booze. Okay. Sagon. Oh, we've got the Sagon. Do we have anything else? Not a ton. Not a ton. Let's have a look at the Sagon, because I can't remember exactly the Sagons. Souffle, sure, we'll take a look at the Boo line. Alexander becomes Soundarana, becomes Alexander, and Soundarana's in there as well. Fang Sounder, Kraken Far Sounder. Anybody else to look at? I'll take the 2-year-olds. And then, so okay, so we can't do any more on that save. And then down here, so books are gone. Yeah, that extra speed. That extra speed was massive. Just could be fantastic. The souffles, pretty decent. Alexander's line. Yeah, just pure sprinter. Secret Pact. Again, looks really good. A really low deterioration as well, which means perhaps for a British jump save that, can run it until they're 12, 13. That could be very, very interesting. Jungle Book looks really, really nice there. And the Royal Diary, it just once you hit certain levels, it's hard to improve beyond that. And I think that's what a lot of these are. But we can always just keep breeding from Brisingham and Krabbies with all these old horses, all these old horses that I'm bringing into. Excuse me. Jade Mandate looks okay, not great, but okay. Squire of the Court as well. A couple of low bars there. But yeah, I think they're all good enough to breed from, right? And that's the thing. We got enough money. We don't need to worry about that. We're not going to lose them from the transfer list because we're going to restore our main transfer list. So when we save this, and when I come back to play it again, what we're going to see is our 52 horse transfer list with all the normal names on. That's Lafa, and that is... Oh, there we go. Is Hadres, who... I kind of want to get rid of them, but I kept them on for a reason. I am going to get rid of them because they were only kept on because they could be Triple Crown horses. I've not got young, not Triple Crown, Grand National horses, so I don't mind getting rid of those. And I'm just trying to think. I might clear these two because I've got so many to bring over into the British. What I'm probably going to do is actually going to go into a new save and just check all of these because I can do it. I can start up 3 saves, and that'll get me very close. And I don't need to import them all because Bertarella I know, Krabbies I know, Small Drum, Copsman, Ambers, Ingham, Hague, Lamps. So I don't need to do those 6. So within 3 saves, I can import all of these, actually look at them and judge which ones are worth importing over into the British save, and then move forward from there because we don't need to bring over all the ones from there that we don't need to. And to be honest with you, looking at some of these that we've now bred, there could just be more going on to this breeding list, and I don't want to start a new one right now. So we're going to have to really sort of pare that down. But yeah, we got a ton of yearlings. We've got some great breeding going on. We've had some great races. We've done everything we want to do. So we're going to use that dash to race and to get through the seasons as much as possible. And we just book kind of normally. There aren't that many races, but yeah, we need to remember we're breeding with two. We do need to remember we're breeding with two. Then all I do is that, and then we skip and kind of look and see what happened. So we're a 5 furlong. Gonna look at the Nunthorpe, and this is how we quickly kind of figure out where we're at. This is kind of how we very, very quickly find out where we're at. No. Okay, this horse doesn't have it early. Doesn't mean they won't get there, but doesn't have it early like that. Let's go ahead and throw a maiden. And try and just make sure we're looking every 7 days. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're not really looking to buy from auctions either. Did I miscalculate? Maybe I miscalculated. I didn't think I miscalculated. We're repeating the breeding, I guess. That's interesting. Plus 7 days takes us on to the 10th, which is exactly where we want to be. Brisingamen has basically been with all 4 that we want this season. And so that's fine. 1, 2, dash. Can't win a maiden. So a decent horse. Doesn't look like it's going to do much. We're going to pivot. And since Brisingham's already bred, we're going to go on and try and win another Arc de Triomphe. And then this is going to be the grade 2. Yeah, okay. There's going to be the Arc de Triomphe we're looking for. So it's probably 1. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Check the breeding. And then I'll start working my way up the list. Because Golden Ace. So another 2 successful breeding, and then I won't have to scroll up and down anymore. So let's get out of the way early. So the 25th. And again, you can go in and select a race and skip, but like, to be honest with you, this is just as easy to do. This should take us to 7 days as well. You don't need to be like right there. But we needed to go forward to the day of the race. And then if it's Ascot, your game can crash. Sometimes. If you're Ascot, the game can crash sometimes. There's one of the races there that doesn't work. And so I don't know if we'll win this time. So we're now 5. And it can be a little trickier in some places. But Kind of want to go see what happens here. The Arc de Triomphe. And it's an okay start. We're right here at the near side. Not a huge field. What's that? 9 horses. We're going to be in a stock. I didn't set up the jockey instructions. Yeah. But at least we're not trailing. That's something. They're going to choose when to challenge, and yeah, they're being ridden handy, I guess. So things that I don't mind. I know Zoran Tudor, actually. I know Zoran Tudor. That's a nice horse leading us out, actually. That could be interesting. So down to the final. 1.5. It looks like Matoto Libre is coming through then. Final furlong. Don't feel like we've got enough time to come up, even though we want to. Fighting till the end. Didn't quite have the jockey instructions right. That's the first one they've lost in an absolute long time. Stumbled to start. Matoto Libre. They won it last year. Sorry, they came second last year. We weren't in it because we were breeding. And they've come through and they've won it this year. It's very, very interesting. But we've beaten Zoran Tudor a couple of times over on mile 4. Which is why we know them. But yeah, they didn't do amazing. Solid win for Libre. Just beginning to pick up at the end. Oh, maybe we're not even a mile 4 anymore. Maybe we're above mile 4. We were always like close to it. We were always close to it. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I miss anything in a sale? Probably not. There's some grade ones that got bought last year by me that were absolutely terrible, so I'm not really interested in doing those. And already you can see we're like well into this breeding season. What's that? The 13th horse is being bred with now, leaving us 6 more after this. Kind of 2/3 of the way through breeding, and we're 2.5 months into the season, so you can have an absolutely huge breeding program if you want to. I just know there aren't that many races that I'm going to want to race. Kind of want to race that one. If we want more distance, don't think that we can win any. Long distance cup, I kind of want to go for it, but it's only a grade 2, so yeah, I'd rather just do this. I'd rather just do this. Skip to the next. And then this is Ascot, which means we might crash the game, which means I usually just skip these or skip result these. I'm always nearly doing that, and I hate that. So don't trail, challenge earlier. And depending on the surface, I sometimes race handy. I sometimes do an even pace depending. I haven't really analyzed this or spent any time, just trying to go quite quickly, so Let's go to watch race. And then before it actually crashes, we've got to skip to the end of the race. There's like a part near the start of the race where it crashes. But you can see the end. I think you can watch the entire replay. And so either way, we win. We win comfortably. There's no beginning to pick up towards the end. So I don't know what the jockey was on about before. But that's Group 1, number 18. And if I'd have had my instructions in, maybe that was 18. Maybe this would be 19. And see, we didn't get to see the best of it in our American save, but we're definitely seeing the best of it now. And I know there's nothing for a while, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't need to be spot on because we're so close towards the end and we're not really adding anything to the breeding barn. And I know there weren't any other races. To go to, you can also count since the last race if it falls on the race, which this one did, so I can go to 21. I do want to make sure I'm not missing out on the Japan Cup, which is going to be tough. That one's going to be really tough. What's 2-2? Yeah, it's another grade 2. Penultimate pairing. Say before this, just in case it crashes. And we are... Yeah, we're going to go race. We're going to go race. We're going to go race. I don't mind this one being longer. This is a little bonus video anyway. The jockey orders are on. Again, I haven't scouted anything about this, but we're just going to see what they can do with the Japan Cup. Such a big race, so much money. Like I say, Australia, Japan, there's some massive money. The Middle East, massive money races. So if you have a truly great horse, you can kind of put here. It looks like we're a little further back than I'd want to be. I don't love that. We're slowly getting up. Do I know any of these horses at all? No, not really. Nothing sticks out. Nothing sticks out. I haven't really been paying too much attention to the horses, but a few names here and there would normally stick out, and they're not. So we're in solid position at least. Elite Don D seems somewhat familiar in that second place. We'll see if they do anything towards the end of this race to kind of make me believe that. Okay, so now we're chasing down Maureen Phoenix. And again, we'd have to go some here in a very short time. I think we're picking up towards the end again. I just think a mile 4 is a little short for us now. Ooh, that's interesting. As a 3-year-old, mile 4 was king. As a 4-year-old, it felt good. As a 5-year-old, it feels too short. It does feel too short. Didn't have the pace, ran well considering. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we can jump a bit here because it doesn't really matter at this point. We've got all our breeding in now. Second place again. Second place again. Didn't have the pace. I mean, there's just not much above a mile 4. Even on this schedule, there's not a ton above. So we're pretty much done with breeding now. This will be fully done. So we got Bertarella, Jesters, Bellash, and Takash all with Brisingham, and Krabby's with all the other 15. That sounds good to me. And then next season, this trio with Krabbies sounds good to me. And I might just end the breeding save there. And, that might make sense to me to do. Um, and then we wade through all of these yearlings and etc. And see where we're at. We do win. The Keenings is a touch longer. Yeah, okay. I wish there were more mile fives and sixes, and that's kind of want to build my own schedule, and I'm looking at that. Just trying to figure out how I can get that done. And there's only a mile three here, so we just skip an entire month because there's no races. And this is why, as well, if you're not really caring too much, you can skip through seasons really quickly. Book a race, remove, forward another month. Mile 7, grade 1. Okay, so that's 28th of February. We got a grade 2 and we got a grade 3, so we don't want anything there. And a mile 5 we should be good for. That's a grade 3 there. Sweet, at least we got our next race. It's a month away. We just skip a month this damn quickly and move on, basically. And again, we've had issues, so I tend to save before or after every race. Mile 7, I don't know if a mile 7 suits. I kind of just want to get it to 20 Group 1 wins. Here we go. Junkyard is on. 5 1/4 lengths. Just absolutely smashed it. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So that's 20 grade 1 wins. And 3 second places from races that are probably a bit shorter than this horse actually likes at the moment. So yeah, it could be 23. If I'd have taken more care, that probably should have been 21. The other two I'm not too sure on. Have I missed anything at an auction? Have I missed any grade 1s being bought? Nope. But that is absolutely fine. And again, we just looked, there's the 2 miles, and this is only 7 days away. That one is brutal. That one is brutal. To go from a mile 7 to 2 miles in a short window of just a week. Yeah, okay. So we got the 9th and the 30th I could race. The 30th again is under distance, but we're there or thereabouts still, even though we're so far off distance. I don't mind it. We'll go to the day, we'll save just in case anything happens, and we'll go talk to the head lad and figure out what he has to say on this. I really want to run it, but I just don't think we're ready. And there's an aspect of me that thinks that the other one's worth a lot more money and prestige, and yeah. Even though it's at a mile 4, we might not like mile 4, we're still like, we haven't finished lower than second. Me saying that in this race, especially this quality of race, sure, we'll get absolutely destroyed, maybe. The Shima Classic. But yeah, the turf is worth 10 million. So you'll take home 6 for winning. The World Cup is 20 million, means you'll take home 12. And the Shima Classic is also 10. That means another 6 million for the winner. So, like, why not go do it? Why not go do it? No, yeah, nothing else. Just boom. Second again. Ran on. We know we want more distance. That's fine. The second place is 2.3 million. Pretty decent. We have dropped down. So we did peak at 138. We did peak at 138. We were 137 going into the Arc de Triomphe. 138 going into the Japan Cup. We've dropped down to 134s. Now we're down to 132. So, like, 140 is really difficult when we're winning so many races. And, like, 33 out of 34 wins, 32 of those are Group 1 wins. Like a complete Triple Crown as a 3-year-old in America. And so many Triple Crown races from around the world, just single legs of them, but like so many of them from around the world. Dominant horse, doesn't even break 130. To get a 140 is a little bit nuts. A little bit nuts. And even having won a race like the World Cup and still not getting above that 129. So it's tough to get good ratings. Brisingaman's definitely hurting in that way. But we do have the tenor show as we come towards the end of this season. And I'm going to run through the end of the season and then take a quick look at the yearlings. And destroyed the tenor show. It's like, yeah, mile 7, 2 miles, like, that's our new range. We've gone up. We could always reach for it. We could always reach for it. We went to Goodwood twice. Took the Goodwood Cup at 2. We took the Chairman's Cup as well. Even though that's a Group 3, like, a test distance early on that one. And so, yeah, we kind of got to move away from the mile 4s up to these big sort of distance races. That's kind of fine. There just aren't that many of them across the season. And so I'll still run the odd mile 4, like the Derby. There's another Triple Crown race. And down to 4th. Really struggle with that one. Really struggle with that one. What's this 2 for? The Gold Cup. Yes, please. Is that Ascot? 15 days after running. I think we'll be okay. I think we'd be okay. Headlad says we're raring to go. Can't watch at Ascot because it would crash, but we can skip to the end of the race. We're not the favourite. We're not the favourite. And we jump up and then we jump all the way down to 129. If we stayed away from the mile 4s and just done the extras, I think we'd be probably just stuck at that 138. I don't actually think that we'd go higher. But yeah, the Gold Cup. Very fun race. And let's see how we get off. The moment they start to run here, we skip and well off. Okay, so we can't get to a mile four, 2 miles four. Yeah, which makes sense. I think we are a 2 miler. I think that's definitely our sweet spot. It's just handicaps and stuff. There aren't that many interesting races there. There's a grade 3 gold vase, which don't really think works. And I think we just go back to the Goodwood Cup right at the end of this season. Penultimate day of the season. Was it 4 of our breedings already been done? That's fine. And we go to Goodwood and finish off. So if we understand our distances, we don't lose many with praising them. And they win comfortably. We have 2 miles, not that many in the schedule. 2 miles, a mile sevens, mile sixes even. There aren't a ton of them. Mile four is kind of your sweet spot for your stayers, and we had that a couple of years. But just a fantastic horse, absolutely fantastic. Even though we didn't race that much, right? Like we're still the number one trainer. And Brazingham's come back as the top flat 4-year-old and above, the top flat stayer, and the top flat horse, just pretty much just from winning one or two big races and getting the prize money. So all those yearlings are now in, and that gives us Brazingham. I mean, that's okay. It doesn't look amazing. I like that a little better. One of Krabby's. Looks good. I do need to remember to look at the stamina bar too, because that would be something interesting that I need to keep an eye on. Although it's very, very rare, to be fair. It's very, very rare for a yearling to have much in the way of stamina bar, but it does show sometimes the future of that horse. Did I look at Praxios? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure these are all going to make the cut in terms of my minimum abilities I want to see. So, no distance adaptability whatsoever, but boy, what a problem sprinter that is. Ooh, yeah. That's an interesting one. 100% an interesting one. And that was from Shift and Krabby's. Okay. A little interesting. Small drum. Does okay. Another Brazingham. A little bit of a jump bar. Okay. Zero distance. And the last Brazingham. Bertarella. Yeah, Bertarella's lack of finish application is the one thing that hurts, but we do have the full finish bar. Bertham. That's definitely one I need to keep an eye on. And Krabby's and Halidite didn't really turn out as good as I'd hoped. They're impressive wise. So, yeah, not too bad. I think not too bad at all. Krabbies is going to end up breeding from these three. Not really sure about the others. And then we're probably going to have to put some transfer lists together to get these out of the game. That looks good. Doesn't look great, but looks good. Can run a mile. Maybe a British Irish flat, and we can start running those milers to begin there. Maybe just the Australian Triple Crown. Who knows? That could be an interesting horse to run with. So, yeah, that's I say a glimpse into one of my breeding saves. That is my Australian save with some old favourites, or at least the progeny of the old favourites coming back, and some of the horses we had really recently making a little impact there. So thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Please do hit that like button and smash subscribe for more content. Leave your comments down below. What do you think of this method of breeding? Some of the horses we've had, do you want to see them imported into other saves? Or do you want to see us stick with the horses bred in those games? But yeah, these bloodlines have been with me for a while, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what you guys think. Maybe with nostalgia if you watched old videos, maybe without it if you haven't. Different opinions would be cool to get on that. But big success here in terms of just breeding a ton of not monsters, but like right below that, just as good as we're breeding in any save. I think, potentially some of these are going to be phenomenal horses. And also then being able to, like I say, bring Halliday out to play. Love that. Because that's from Halifax's bloodline. We love Halifax. So that was cool. And then really properly evaluating Krabby's down after his Triple Crown. And kind of maybe not viewing him as well as they deserve to be after winning a Triple Crown. Giving them a chance to prove what they can actually do. And then similarly with Brazingham, getting all the way up to a 138 rating and just dominating for what could have been 2 years at a mile 4 or 3 years at a mile 4. Honestly, 2 years at a mile 4. Yes, 3-year-old in his 4-year-old season. I think that would have been fine. And then as a 5-year-old, just doing the mile 7 and 2 miles, even though there weren't that many races we could have done. But all those second places, like, yeah, we were close. Even when we were off distance, we were close. And then just no other races really to book at the start of June. Probably should have skipped a month, but we went stupid here and kind of hurt the record a tiny bit, but still. 26 from 34, 57 and just under a $250,000 in prize money. 22 Group 1s, a Group 2, a Group 3. And as I say, peaking at 138. We might not have had Triple Crown possibilities with Brazingham, because he always had a little too much distance. But boy, what a horse. Boy, what a horse. Little bit of a monster. Absolutely love to see it. And, yeah, what more can I say? What more can I say? So, there it is. For testing horses, for nostalgia purposes, and for breeding another generation of wonder horses, or 2 generations of wonder horses, or wonder yearlings, to see kind of what we can do with them in the future. I think this save is a massive success. So I'm going to go off now, finish out this season, finish off the last little bit of breeding, export into two new transfer files. One's for yearlings and one for 2 and 3-year-olds. Clean up the other transfer files I've got as well a little bit. I think that's going to be kind of my afternoon. So hope you enjoyed. I'll see you again soon. Till then, take care, stay safe, and all the best in your racing and breeding.